wording there? James?
I think so. Yeah, Terry, that's what Terry said. I think it's good.
Well, we need approval, right? Like, we had resolved not to do. We have to approve, yeah, approve, you need to, we have to approve it. This doesn't,
Yeah, so approve,
okay.
We're 59.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Your sound working, everything's good?
I think so.
Yeah,
If
okay.
somebody might be able to just send a message in the chat to make sure that it's.
Oh. I'll have a motion to adopt the agenda. Or else if anybody has any other additions?
Were we gonna be doing that in camera session?
Yeah, oh, he was supposed to have it.
In camera.
In camera again. After inquiry, so be 7.1.
Yeah.
So let's.
I'll add that in after inquiries.
So we're gonna add the council to go in camera at 7.1
There, is that
after inquiries. Okay,
It's right after inquiries.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
so can I have a motion to adopt the agenda with the one addition to go in camera? Councilor Johan Mover, seconder,
Yeah, I'll second.
Ed, seconded. Yes, Councilor Maxwell. Tell me when I'm going too fast. Am I going too fast?
No, got it.
Okay. Okay, now on to communications.
Stuff to do for cold question.
I'm sorry. Call for the question. Are all in favor of adopting the agenda with the one addition? All in favor? Carry. We're just gonna wait and see. Is it recording or communicating?
Recording, the sound should be on. Yeah. There's nothing in the chat now. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Working?
Oh, I just see it here. It popped up on my screen, not on there. It's all working.
Okay, good.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep, thanks for your patience. Okay, now on number 3, communications. We've got 3 items in the communications.
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Okay, Councilor Brown moves to receive and file all communications.
All communications.
Okay, can I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
Councilor Maxwell seconded. Teresa,
Barb's got them.
okay. Yeah, anybody have any questions on?
Well, I guess one thing, in the communications, it's a letter from the Pit Owners Association. There's the Paramount Health funding request letter. There's one, and the KGS report that has to do with our, I guess, our report for the municipality and our assessments, asset assessment.
That's actually a good point. I mean, we could have put it under report, Councilor Brown, but I'm okay with it here. It's on file. If we, at least it's for people reference, but that Paramount Health is an interesting one. We will have to conceive it, and then next year, the year after, we'll have to sit down with them and just get more clarification of the funding.
It's a request for 25,
Yeah.
26
But we need
fiscal
to-
year.
We don't need to deal with it right now. So, anybody else got any question? I'll call for the question. All in favor? Yeah. Carried. Okay, now to accounts. And finance.
So Tracy's here, we've got some accounts payable and payroll to approve. There's the payments and checks are listed, and then there's a financial report up to the end of September 2022.
Well, we're dealing with the checks first. right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I asked James to upload the most current one. I'll explain a couple of things. There's a voided one for Tramley. That one was overbilled. You'll find that check number 11081. It was rebilled at a lower amount. Check number 11062. So you'll see a voided and then a reissued. There's a couple voided ones for me. That was an issue within the payroll for that paying out of bank time, so I'll correct that after, but they're all voided out at 0. The one that you were looking at the other day for the top up,
yeah,
I've canceled that check. It's voided in that check run.
good.
And everything else is pretty straightforward. I paid the source deductions. The benefits are caught up.
Good.
And I did it for payroll, including the payroll for this Thursday.
Okay. So the question is, so that check you were referring to, that 11060, 581406, is that the overrun or the,
That was it corrected about they overbilled us. You'll see the voided one, but down below was 7,406.
it's,
Check 11081. You see a V on the far right hand side that shows it's voided.
okay, so that's what that means.
It would, they overbilled us by about $2,000.
No, Tracy, is that the one for the hearing most likely?
That was the December 31st check that was just overbilled.
Yeah.
Anytime you see that V, that's a void. So I printed it, done it, so you see there was 20 voided.
Mhm.
There was some issues with some of them this time.
So just for clarification, I mean, council, I mean, Darren, you have a question?
Yeah. I'm just wondering what text to car is.
That's the service that provides the fobs for the water fobs.
Oh, for the wells?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one for overland waste, I know you worked hard there, there was a couple of strange tickets that came in, that all that's resolved, we didn't know.
I'm waiting to hear back from the city on that. The multi-stewardship is all taken care of and everything entered, so that'll come back to the city of Brandon once they review everything. That would be a city of Brandon overpayment, not a overland.
Okay. And the Livingston, that will go into 2022,
Yes, I put that back. I put it back into it. That was a missed billing for the ditches.
Well-
The ditch mowing or something. Livingstone?
yeah. And Western Library, that was 2020.
That was 2022 as well.
Correct?
Yeah, you'll find some of them are, if you look on the check date, you'll see I did a number of them at December 31st. And that's because they're going back into 2022.
In the 27,000, that's for the audience. And even for
Yeah,
council.
no, the 20
That's the projected shader.
The hydro bill, yes, and I actually spoke to the water stewardship and stuff in there. That is it'll be billed back, like we'll bill back for that and get the guy actually called me today, so.
No, the census, the 8 check 11082. That
The
was for
2021 audit.
21 audit, yeah. Okay. That's probably why they wanted us to sign off on it, eh?
Well, yeah, they can't send us a bill until we sign that.
Okay, I have another one here. Feel free, guys, I mean, anybody that has questions.
11107,
11107.
it's on the second page. Third from the top.
Page,
That was, there was 3 invoices that I mistakenly paid through, the utility fund that I had to void. So they were reissued. They are, one's for, Peter Tynes, one's for Gray Road, and the other one is for,
the hearing, maybe?
maybe, yeah, you might be right. And they'll just all go back through AR. They were just, they were misbilled and then missed under the wrong account.
And I've been really, I'm not rushing signing checks. I sit
Yeah,
down
no.
with Tracy with taxes and charter and all that, like with the Peter Times and I want to make sure that the right accounts get
Yeah, that's a
get
separate
billed.
process. I have to do the billing piece.
Samson Engineering, that's the lake finance, correct?
Samsung Engineering, yeah,
We're
that was
done then,
they
yeah.
implemented.
Tracy, can you run a report to see what what the quote was to what we got billed? Because I think.
From Samsung for
Yeah.
Lake Clemente?
I think we're a little bit over, I could be wrong, because the one meeting wasn't in his original quotation, so just send council a little bit of a briefing and why we were over.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, the one meeting would have been when we had the other municipality,
Yeah,
Oakland and residents.
yeah, good point there, Bob. So the rest, the other name, Tina Stanley, that's training, it says training.
Yeah.
And we agreed on that, but
Yeah, Britt McKay, Nancy Buckley, they're all the assistant.
a payroll from Brandon or Keystone Planning, are they working on it, Tracy? Or are you hearing anything?
Angela was talking about trying to get it, but I'm not sure about doing it mid-year, but she is looking at it now that they have signing and stuff that for them to switch over their payroll. But I bill them back for everything, all the source deductions, the whole 9 yards, and they just pay us by invoice.
And just for council information, just before the meeting, I asked James to give us a overtime, just from a high level. Yeah, the guys are out and we appreciate that, but we need to understand overtime to see, maybe by looking at it, we can maybe come up with a way to reduce the hours or
Yeah,
come up with something, because
you'll see the high overtime in the January one. That was stat holidays and stuff that were missed over Christmas because they ended up working Christmas Day and New Year's Day because of snow. So that was my error. So that got paid, the retro, the retro general holiday pay in the next pay run. So it might look a little odd that it was overtime when it was actually from the period before.
okay, Chris. One thing we need to do is the indemnity. We need to,
Indemnity is
no, we
completed.
need to bring it back to that form that we agreed to in council. We gotta show the public, everything is on there. We, just showing an
Yes.
amount is misleading.
Yes,
But if you go to the template, the format,
And
It's
I'll make
crystal
sure that
clear.
that gets put back
Yeah,
in, but I
we-
can comment on that just for the public. You'll see that there's the last 2, 3, there's indemnities in there. And it's because it took this long to get them figured out. So there's 3 months of indemnities that were paid on this check register. November, December, and January. So they're showing up lots, but
some of them were paid in November though, right?
yes, like there was 2 that were deposited into the bank by error because it was an automatic thing that I didn't realize. So all of that has been offset. They were never entered into the system, but they are entered now. So then I took the difference between the deposit and the actual, and that's what. Then I have the breakdowns of everything. So if that was just a bit higher on this run, only because there's 3 months worth of
But make
indemnities.
sure when we
I
go
will
back,
go forward, yeah.
whatever format was missed from October,
Yeah.
moving forward, we want to see it. We've got to show it to the residents. So there's-
Well, I can even give you each one's individually for the regular council meeting in
Well,
February.
we need that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But we need to break down in that format the way we've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
And we'll-
that's my own.
Okay, does anybody else have any, that's the all the questions I have. Nobody has any questions for there's a motion to approve the check run. There's a motion on the floor, or, well, wait, sorry, not a motion, if any, there is a motion. Is it, have we got it read out like that? Be it resolved that the attached AP payroll checks be approved? Yeah, was that what the motion was?
That's what the resolution is.
Yeah, okay, so we got a seconder? Yeah, Barb has it, so if nobody else has any questions.
Yeah, I didn't get the mover.
Well, we didn't move it yet.
Yep.
Oh, Tracy started, okay, we'll have a mover based on the, there's a resolution on your computer or something else.
Yeah, be resolved that the attached AP payroll checks be approved.
Yeah, okay, so Shane is the mover.
Yeah.
Seconder. Ed seconds it. And if anybody, nobody else has any questions, I'll call for the question, all in favor. Gary. Okay, now to the financial report. So Tracy, again, this time, I'll let you,
Oh, we will move it first. and then-
well, I mean, in all fairness, like she did a report, or else you want to move it.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, okay.
So I
Well, these are the actual financial statements at the end of September before I came, so these ones were presented like quite a while ago, but they've been tabled. So
I've seen it.
I think it might be easier if somebody has a question about them for me to answer than for me to go through and try and give an overview because it was prior to.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted you to report before we have a mover, so we
Yeah,
better understand Tracy.
I was hoping that people took the time to go through them and like it's got the balance sheet. I broke it down by the general account and by utility. There's also a balance sheet for the Chater Cemetery Trust Fund. Then those ones don't look like much happens in there. There's the Netherhill Farms Development Agreement. That one is all zero balance. Chater Utility Reserve Fund, it doesn't look like much has happened in there at all in the first 9 months. And then there's just a statement of operations. So if you look at the general fund, the budget probably a little bit over budget, but there's probably things that haven't been allocated back to other areas yet. So like there's ins and outs on balance sheets and on statement of accounts once the AR gets completed and gets applied. So I wouldn't put too much into that at this point.
Meaning what, Tracy? You want?
Meaning, I think when you see the next quarter, you're gonna see it balance out because there's gonna be things that will be applied in the fourth quarter of the year.
It's a fluid document, basically.
Yes, it is very much a fluid document when you're looking at comparisons of budget to actual.
Yeah, and just for council, literally, actually, I'll do that once we have a mover. I've given Tracy.
But I mean, it's pretty standard. I didn't find anything that really jumped out at me unless you guys did. And if you did, I can look at it and try and answer it, but.
Okay, now that you've been report, I'll have a motion to, it's on your screen there. To accept and approve. No, good. We can further discuss it once it's on the table, at least Tracy explained. Report. Can I have a motion to, okay, Shane is the mover to accept and approve. Councilor Brown. Okay. Anybody else has any questions? I'll just bring a point up here. No, nobody else? Now, I lost my page again and I can't, because it's,
It's a long document.
well, that one transfer that I told Tracy about the transfer, she wasn't on the legal side and then on the utility and on the aggregate, that will,
That's exactly the type of transaction that I'm talking about that will affect how it looks when you're looking at a budget as opposed to an actual. Because there'll be things that will go through one account and be applied to another, which will change the numbers.
yeah, and we have to look at all those transfers to make
Yes.
sure what we budgeted for, because this is an audited budget
Yes.
from 22, so we have to make sure it gets.
Well, this isn't an audited, this is just your financial statements and
No, no.
printouts.
No, what I'm saying, Tracy, is the financial statement was approved and audited, okay? But some of the numbers on here could be transferred already. That's what Tracy and myself were talking about.
No,
So we
the
have to-
audited statements were from 2021.
From 20,
Not this year.
no, the financial statement was approved by the 22 financial statement was approved via a public hearing.
The
So,
budget at the beginning.
budget, yeah,
Okay, that
budget.
makes
So
sense.
whatever we budgeted,
Yes,
we approve has to now,
100%.
yeah. So
That's why I said this is the end of the third quarter. There's gonna be things that will come into that fourth quarter, October, November, December, that will reflect on that statement with the transfers from account to account,
Yeah,
taking
no,
it from one and applying it to
yeah.
other. It'll drop and raise the actuals, and it'll balance out more by the end of the year.
Yeah, no, that's good, yeah. Now, for the audience, I mean, we're year in, where are we, Tracy, and what's give council a bit of a heads up where we are with year end, and
Wow,
when do you expect year end to be done before we start the 23 budget?
I need a little bit longer, because every day something else pops up.
Okay,
Like the bill payments, the online bill payments for, I go into my online banking and pay my water bill. I don't know where they are from the time I started. I have to find them. Those kind of things. Now, I thought I was closer than I had everything. I've got the cash. I've got all of that sorted out and reconciled. I thought I was ready to do the bank reconciliation, which is sort of the end of the process of your month end. Until I realized that I'm missing all of the bill payments from. I know that the people are paying property taxes through a bill payment and new bill utilities, so that's on my list first thing tomorrow morning to try and find those. Once I find those and apply them, then I'm closer. Give me another couple, 3 weeks.
no,
Okay,
okay,
that lady that was helping out on the weekend, do you want her back for some additional?
She is unbelievably, amazingly helpful, and I've got lots from her, except she is busy for about the next 3 weeks, so. I am going to speak. The Dauphin lady from MNP was the one that called Tina. So I'm gonna try and get her here, but again, there's things that I don't know her name, but the woman from Dauphin, there's things that she doesn't know, like in assist, where she would end up calling Tina. So we might end up doing some stuff with her here and Tina on text or FaceTime or email or. And hopefully we can piece it together. It's gonna be a bit of a process, but I'm prepared to plug my way through it.
okay. So we're ready to approve the September. Anybody got any questions for Tracy on the September financial statement? Oh, and call for the question, all in favor? Yeah. Yeah, Jerry?
Mover and a seconder there.
No, we did. Okay, yeah, with Tracy, then, because it's financial, I always like to. I think we need to give the financial analyst an opportunity to give us one point.
Yeah, so you guys don't need me for anything else?
So thank you, Tracy. No, we don't. Thanks a lot.
If you happen to need me, just fire me a text. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Next one is bylaws. Do you want me to explain this one at all, or you do it?
Yes, yeah, it's 29. Okay, audience.
So for the audience, when I first started here, we passed a resolution to hire an administrative assistant, but we already had one, and the municipal act requires us to pass bylaw to establish, for example, a CAO, which we found the bylaws from 1997, so that's still valid for a CAO position. And so what we're doing today is we're doing first reading for bylaw 17-1202-2023, a bylaw to establish a financial analyst position. So that bylaw, thank you for the help, Councillor Ross, is written up for the attachment for the councillors to see. So that's establishing the position of financial analyst.
Yeah, so that's the background. So if I can have a mover. And
Be it resolved that we give first reading to bylaw 17-1202-2023, a bylaw to establish a financial analyst position.
okay, we've got a mover, Maxwell, and another second.
I'll second the motion.
Councillor Brown. Okay, any discussion? Anybody else has? I'll just make a comment, like, the CEO just explained, late Friday, we found, we want to make sure we're doing things right, the position of the CEO. Then I said, well, the former CEO didn't start as a CEO. What position was that? And Tracy found it this morning. Yeah, I believe it was from 2009. She was hired as the financial officer / assistant CAO. When we advertised the financial analyst council decided that's what we're gonna, at the end of the day, hire, and that's what we did. So we didn't want to jump back and forth. Someday we can revert back to that, but Tracy is our financial analyst. So in order for her to have signing authority, we have to have a bylaw because she will be a director that can sign checks. So that's my explanation. So we're doing things right. So took a little bit longer than we wanted to, but we got it right. So if nobody else has anything, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carried. Next thing on the agenda is on a new business, and training. There's some meeting.
Yeah, so the Association of Municipal, Manitoba Municipalities has some training for new counselors. In Winnipeg and Brandon, they're here in Brandon on February 17th for the day. And the cost is $75 per council member attending.
What we need here, folks, is a mover with the names of the folks that like to attend. I just want to remind council, just to be mindful, this costs the taxpayers at the end of the day money. I'm all for education, but when come on, you just read it off.
February 17th, I think it's most of the day.
It's a Friday.
The Victoria.
In the day.
Yeah. So what we'll need is two, three the names in here. Just to,
I plan on going, I could bring a report back to council, so you don't have to go if you don't want to.
that'll be great. Why don't we have the detail? We can have a mover. Would anybody, I mean, it's up to everybody else, but I'm not. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be attending to full day things, kind of.
Are you okay?
I would do, but I mean, if you think you get away with one report, I'm fine with that.
It's up to you. It's all about education, and I would go, but I got so many other moving parts as it relates to new hires and all that. I want to save my time for when we need.
I don't know. Time to.
You don't have time to go.
Just for my 2 cents, I think, from what I've read and been told by AMM, would be really beneficial for the new counselors, maybe not so much for the ones that have been around for a while.
And I'd like to go if I can.
Yeah, okay. Can I have a mover then for Councillor Ross and Councillor Maxwell to attend EMM?
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Brown moves. Seconder? I have a seconder. Councillor Brown moved it.
Yeah, okay.
One second.
Oh, I'll second.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Brohan?
I might need to amend it, just.
Yep.
I would go if I can have time, but I'm not positive at the moment with schedule or whether I have. So we'll leave that kind of.
Okay, now, Councillor Brown, what I will do then, I will, normally the readers do it, but I will do it. I'll amend it for, because of the three new councillors.
So that's a new thing.
Include Shane Brohan. Yeah.
When do you need to know the,
As soon as possible, and I can get you registered.
okay, my boss isn't around today, so I'm not positive of all my free time or not. I don't even know if I have enough time, so I'll get it for.
So why don't you approve 3?
So I'll read the motion, and be it resolved that councillors Ross, Johan, and Maxwell attend the AMM council training on February 17th at a cost of $75 per person, paid for by the ARN.
No, I'll second that because I don't want to put the three councillors in a bad position, so I'll second that. Is anybody else?
Well, I know when we had that conference call, they recommended we go, so that's why.
The new people go, right?
The people go to it.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'll see if I can,
so
but we do have it full time, or is it just the whole day?
I have the whole,
Yeah.
I have it for you, a different on the email.
Okay,
yeah, I see.
Actually,
I always seen it the date. I haven't
sorry,
seen it the hours.
if you pull it up, it should be there in the attachment. Sorry, I didn't.
You'll forward it to you.
it's right there in the attachment. I attached the invite. Can you see it there? Mine's not coming out for some reason. So,
I've got an email coming up.
yeah, that's, the email is the,
It's there, yeah.
yeah,
So
so
you
you
guys-
all day. Sure.
So the CEO will register you three and just bring a report back and learnings and hopefully we can put some of your learnings to work. Yeah. Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one is the Brandon Fire Emergency Service Agreement.
Yeah, so I'll take a little bit on this, have the financial analyst look at this as well. I have, looked at them both side by side, the old and new, highlighted the new, rates for council. So just a few things to point out, the, under Schedule C for inspections, the inspection rate is consistent with the old agreement at about a 3% increase per year. So from 2022 to 2023, 3%, both 3% 24, 3% 25. And then when you talk about the annual retainer fee based on population, it's population times an amount. It's equal to just under 4%, and but it's 1% increase from 2022. So I believe that would be 4% over the term of the agreement, which seems reasonable. And lastly, the overtime rate is also at a 3% increase. So overtime would depend on the amount of calls for service.
And then the increase also, James, on the fire inspections. We added an additional amount of fire inspections.
Yeah, so there's additional under the list of Schedule C for the buildings that need to be inspected. There's the new arena is on there now, and we've updated the list there with the city.
My understanding is talking to financial assistant, there was an additional, I believe she said 23 new businesses added to the list of inspections, and we have to get that on there to protect the municipality, just to make the Brandon Fire Department aware of those businesses.
And just so, I think this question might come up, I'm not sure, but when it comes to inspections, we can get our inspector at Keystone to do them, but there would still be an administrative charge of, I think it's $25 if we do our own. So there could be savings there if we do our own inspections, is my understanding.
Yeah, but we'd have to, councils would have to approve it, like, we would have to feel comfortable from a municipality point of view. Okay, so there's the report. Can I have a mover? This one has been lingering around for 2 months. I wanted the council to have a look at it. I want to make sure when you guys give me the James, the authorization for the CEO and myself to sign it, I want to make sure that we have good information in front of us and it's good.
Well, I'll make the motion to resolve the council approves the BFES agreement and give authorization to the interim CAO and Reeve to sign the agreement.
Can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councilor Ross, so movers, Councilor Brown, seconders, Councilor Ross. Anybody else have any questions? It's a fairly long agreement.
Yeah, there's still more businesses and stuff to be put on here, is that correct? And we can add on later, right?
That's a good point, Councilor Brown. I believe the CEO reached out to the city. We wanted to, before we sign it, put as many on as we know, but if we've given Darwin directions and any counselor looks at that list and you see something's missing, forward off to the CEO and we'll get it added. There's no charge for us adding business.
Yeah, they'll just have more additions.
Yeah, and also I'd just add, Barb's done a great job of tracking down businesses that we may be missing. And we're, we'll talk about the website, but we've been updating the business list on the website as well.
great.
More of a safety aspect.
It
That's
is.
a prime fire service. That's
Yes.
prime, they go into a fire.
Yeah, and actually, that's for the audience there, and even for council, I'd mentioned before, why I was hesitant signing it there. The fire department, they were here a few years ago saying the reasons why they want to inspect. So when those people go out there, they want to know what dangers, potential dangers they're walking into. Is it acetylene tanks or whatever? They just want to, for their own safety, I think it's just prudent to get everybody on that list that needs to be on that. No, okay, nobody else has a question or any inquiries? I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carry.
Got the mover and the seconder there?
Yes,
Mark?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we have.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, and I believe we had 2 new businesses last week. For the list.
So next one is police board.
Oh. Yeah. You got it here, Shane?
First one or the second one or the third?
The first one. There's 2 there. There's one for you to be the chair and the citizen. Because there's training coming up, we have to.
Or citizen first, is that one?
Yeah, first. That's it.
Okay, citizen. Okay.
Yeah, the
I wasn't
citizen.
sure the order.
Yeah, the order doesn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, make a motion that be resolved that Kim Queistra is appointed as the RM Cornwallis Police Board Community Member. And also be resolved that Kim Queistra will serve as Vice Chair.
Second,
Salsa.
Terry was second. Okay, so we got Shane as the mover. Councilor Ross is the second.
Just a question. I understand there was a list of names. Do you know who the list of names were?
Yeah. They were mailed to the CEO. There was
Yeah,
3.
there were 3 resident applications, a little bit of background on some homework that was done. Our bylaw is dated. There was some discussion of appointing 2 community members to have 4 on the board, but our current bylaw would have to be repealed and a new bylaw for the police board, because our current police board bylaw only allows for 1 community member, 1 council member, and 1 lieutenant governor appointment, so that's appointed by the province. So there were 3 very, very competent, qualified applications. I didn't choose the person, so I can't comment on that part.
So without knowing who the other people were.
I was only instructed.
Yep. Actually, Councilor Ron, that's the first time that actually we advertised for. Yeah, it never been before. The Reeve generally picked them. And I said, folks, we need some new ideas and new concepts and all that. Why don't we open it up? Just like we will with committees. We will reach out to the committees. There's a lot of strength out there and wisdom that the residents can bring, and these people, the 3 of them, basically put their names forward, and we will look at adding another one, but we can't do it tonight because the training is coming up. I'm looking forward to, I'll work with the CEO. I'd really like another community member on there, just to give us a broader circle of insight and wisdom.
Andrew Minor from the Police Commission also recommended having an extra community member.
That's right.
So that's why we want to change that later, because under his recommendation, he's the guy that would know. He is the.
That actually-
The problem, right?
Thanks, Councilor Drohan. When we did have a conference call with Andrew Minor, I asked that question. Are we limited to 1? And he says council can via bylaw name as many as they want. Well, not as many, but 2 or 3. And he liked that idea for a broader. Now with our police force potentially expanding, there has been, it's not no top secret. There has been, by the former chair has reached out to other municipalities. That gives us a bit more insight, more people thinking around the table. So I think 1 or 2 more members probably won't hurt. So
And obviously, just for clarity, In order to add another, we'd have to take the police board bylaw, Cornwallis Police Board bylaw. Give it first reading if we're going to add, attach it to council. So if that's something council wants to do, we can look at the bylaw, a new bylaw to add a person.
Yeah, I did reach out to Councillor Drohan and make a recommendation that, you know, the position that we were in as a council, when we had that staff turnover, there was no ability to transfer knowledge from previous employees to the new employees. So I reached out to Councillor Drohan to consider possibly one of the first meetings to bring in one of the previous members of the committee to do a knowledge transfer. You know, just what were their challenges, and, you know, bring the new committee up to speed. So to consider doing that.
Yeah, I have been in contact with one of the previous board members already, and we will be talking to each other shortly, and then we can bring it forward.
Yeah, that's a good
what
idea.
he's, you know, asking to bring forward and what he's got for knowledge.
And Andrew Minor from Manitoba Police Board, Executive Director, he's anxious to get out here and do some training for our police board as well. We have to get it established.
Actually, that's a good question. To be honest with you, we're basically the funders of that police department. If it's legal or in kosher, I wouldn't mind sitting in just on what the training involved, just so we have a better idea, if it's all possible. If he doesn't want us there, I wouldn't mind just sitting, just to get knowledge, like Terry just said, Councillor Ross, knowledge transfer. I mean, very few times, we got reports and all that, but I'd really like to sit in on what is our requirement. As a reeve, I want to, especially when we're thinking about expanding our police and maybe reach out to other municipalities, if you can reach out to them, see if we'd be breaking the law by just sitting in and just observing. Great. Okay, so nobody else has anything? I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carry. No.
But I'm just add a comment, I guess I know it's back to the fact that. With the idea of adding another member, I think. It definitely should be looked at, and if I could get going sooner rather than later.
Councillor Brown, that is really good, but like Councillor Ross just mentioned, with the turnover, we've got more bylaws hanging on low-lying fruit right now, signing authority and all that. I do appreciate, and we'll look at it from a financial point of view as well, because there's finances involved there as well. But that's a good point. I think once we get better established here, I'll make the next motion. Generally, a reeve doesn't do it, but I'd be more than happy. Be it resolved that Shane Drohan will be the chair of the RM of Cornwallis Police Board.
Second.
Councillor Ross. I'll make my comment as a reeve. I think a reeve, we need a good, strong voice on. And since the police board has been formed, it's always been a council member on the RM Police Board, Mr. Greer, or Councillor Greer at the time, Councillor Waddell and Councillor Weisberg. So I think it's just fair. Then that chairperson could come back to us, go in camera or whatever, and just so we can see what's going on with that police board. That's fine.
Just a comment, I thought we already did this, I thought we already.
So no, not the chair. Not, we missed the chair.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the chair. This is the chair of the police board. Yeah, we read the bylaw. I've been studying these bylaws because we got caught once and we got.
Yeah, we should follow the rule.
Councillor Drohan was definitely appointed, and I reported that to Andrew Minor last month. And so now it's the resident appointment, which was time sensitive, and the chair and vice chair.
Chair, yeah, chair and vice chair. So, it's okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carried.
Okay. I'm not sure about the next one, so you might have to.
Brand
Computers?
Brand
Oh, okay,
computers, yeah.
okay.
That's we all got. It was here on Saturday morning.
And we got other quotes, but I guess.
Yeah. Actually, on this one, I'll get Counselor, before we have a motion, I'll get Counselor Rock to explain, you're our computer guru, well, so you know.
Actually, we should do a motion.
Okay,
and then,
Okay, yeah, go ahead then, yep.
Be it resolved that Brandon Computers is approved to do the initial cybersecurity risk assessment.
Okay, then Counselor Ross moves it, Counselor Drohan, and that is the right way to do it, but I figured just a little for, background.
If you've looked at the headlines lately, there's a couple of municipalities in Manitoba that were hit with pretty substantial fraudulent activity by threat actors, and they're not getting any friendlier, and they're certainly getting more aggressive with their phishing campaigns, their constant hacking, trying to get in. And we certainly don't want to lose any of the private information, the personally identifiable information or confidential information of any of our residents or our employees for that matter. And it's all stored electronically these days. All transactions are done electronically these days. So we need to take measures to bring the digital operations within the municipal office here up to, you know, a minimum level of security, and this cybersecurity assessment is going to provide us with a baseline that by which we can gauge our growth in cybersecurity and information technology operations, so on and so forth. So it's not about hiring this company to do anything like that. They're just going to provide us with the initial baseline, and then we will be, you know, entering into a negotiation period where we're going to be possibly looking at who can provide those services, and away we go from there.
Anybody else?
Well, we're probably gonna get. Like, in my day job, we're gonna get thousands of times a day and by cybersecurity problems, and we don't see it as end users. Terry may more than I would, but yeah, it's definitely something we really need to be up to date on and keep abreast of, because things like that happen throughout the province. So I mean, we're not all computer geniuses, but I mean, we still got to protect the municipality, and everything that we touch is computerized.
No, I just like to add that definitely this is something that has to be taken place and should be put into place that protects everything. A lot of the other RMs around are doing it or have done it, so it's something that must be done.
Actually, I'll make a comment. We had Norris Myers and Penny talking about accounting and all that, and they highly recommended we better get into the 21st century, how we protect our everything, like our data. And I will make a comment and appreciate Councilor Ross's effort. Remember the first time we walked in the office, first thing he did is look at what we've got, and he kind of made a comment to me out. And that's when I realized we really need to move ahead. It's going to be what I'm going to say, a line item on our budget that we probably haven't seen before, but I think it's a necessity. We'll just have to look ways and means to find money somewhere to protect the residents' assets. I mean, digital information is assets. So I think we need to really move fast, because we've got very little protection right now. In fact, I want to say probably none. So, yeah. Anyways, anybody else? Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Carry.
Got all that, Barb?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you. Didn't have anything under inquiries.
Yeah, does anybody have an inquiry on anything? That gives you an opportunity to ask questions or. You have anything for administration to look at for the next meeting? And just for the residents out there, I know I received a couple of calls and a couple of texts about the garbage. As soon as the budget is complete, or the year-end budget is complete, we will sit down and look at that bylaw for the garbage collection, because June's going to be here very quickly. So a few of them have reached out to me and appreciate everybody's patience. We had no other choice. Just didn't have the resources right now to move forward and sign a contract.
I'll make a motion to go in camera.
Yeah,
7,
just
one.
yeah. Nobody has any inquiries, so we'll carry, or Councilor Ross is making a motion to go into camera. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Maxwell.
So I'm going to shut the YouTube off. So have a good evening, everyone. After we come out of camera, we're just gonna close or adjourn. the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah. I'm gonna do-
Yeah, and